This that new baby? Hey, yo, you would've caught the new G550? Oh boy. Smell of newness. Fresh mahogany.
Do you think Cassie Ventura was a victim or partner in this?
A $60 million jet and a trail of questions. What's behind the spotlight on Diddy? Once a symbol of extravagant living, Diddy's private jet is now drawing attention for very different reasons. The high-flying aircraft isn't just known for its luxury anymore, it's become a central piece in a growing federal probe. So, what triggered the sudden interest from investigators? And how did it lead to someone being taken into custody? Let's break down this rapidly evolving story, one surprising detail at a time.
G550? Oh boy. Are you crazy? Happy birthday to you. Merry Christmas. My first time in this thing.
It's gonna be better once some stuff is swapped.
Smell of newness. Fresh mahogany. Hey yo, check it out. For inspirational and motivational uses only, I'm going to take me a nap. I'll see y'all in the A, man. What up, morning?
Good morning, send nothing but love and positive vibrations your way. Love.
Yo, we on our way to make some historical, beautiful, much needed soul to the soul capital of the world, ATL. We are on our way, and we bring nothing but love and positive vibes and smash hit motherfucking records. Love is in the building, and I'm taking no shorts. Here's to us, to us, to us, to us. Love, 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 love.
What is a freak off? The freak off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism.
He had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak-offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting.
They might say she's lying, but that's going to be a little hard to do with that.
Star witness taking the stand, but it was more than that. It was how Cassie took that stand. You could hear a pin drop when those doors opened, and a visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura walking past a man she had not seen in 6.5 years. A man she says violently abused her for a decade. A man the prosecution said trafficked her. Well, she sat across from him, placed her overcoat behind her, turning her body slightly toward the jury, rubbing her pregnant belly throughout her testimony. Diddy, well, he was more fidgety than he was the day before. He was passing notes. He pushed himself away from the defense table and largely sat like that. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying about having loved him once and planning and participating in these freak-off sex parties because she feared him and she wanted to make him happy, but feeling worthless, feeling disgusting because she didn't want to do it. Now, with each moment, the testimony became more and more graphic. Her delivery, though, it never changed. It was matter of fact, steady, calm. At times, she was even critical of herself, walking us all through how a 10-album record deal came over a 10-year period of abuse and sexual humiliation.
At first glance, it's a dream jet. But beneath the surface, serious questions are taking flight. Once admired as the pinnacle of luxury, Diddy's $60 million jet was designed to impress, featuring a modern interior, ambient lighting, leather seating, and rich wood finishes. More than just a way to travel, it represented power, privacy, and prestige. But today, that same aircraft is drawing attention for reasons that have little to do with style or status. Federal officials are now investigating whether this jet played a part in something far more complex. According to early findings, the aircraft may have been used to transport guests to private, invitation-only gatherings, events described by sources as highly exclusive and carefully controlled. While the focus isn't on the events themselves, investigators are concerned about how certain individuals were brought there and under what conditions. Unlike commercial planes, private jets operate without public passenger logs or lengthy check-ins. That privacy, once seen as a perk, now raises red flags. Authorities reportedly discovered inconsistencies between official flight records and eyewitness reports. In one case, documents showed only a few travelers aboard, yet multiple sources suggest far more were seen boarding. This lack of transparency is now at the heart of the investigation. Federal agents are reportedly reviewing flight routes, travel logs, and guest connections to elite gatherings in various cities, and Diddy's aircraft is under the spotlight. For a public figure long associated with wealth and influence, the stakes are incredibly high. If any part of this narrative proves accurate, the fallout could extend far beyond public image. It could represent a major turning point in his career. What was once a soaring emblem of success might now become a symbol of deeper concerns about power, privacy, and accountability. And as the story continues to unfold, the central question remains: what exactly was flying under the radar? It looked like a movie scene, but the stakes were all too real. A quiet airport turned into a high-stake.
But is that what he's doing? Is he running an entertainment and fashion industry, or is he running essentially a criminal organization?
By the way, we have a poll up right now. You can participate in it. Do you think Cassie Ventura was a victim or partner in this? Ready for this? 82%. Well, this doesn't make sense. 82% say yes. I don't know if that's yes to, I think we need clarification. 82% say victim or partner. We'll get a clarification on that.
By the way,
right now.
But that's my answer to that question.
Oh, okay. 82% say victim. 82% say victim. Maybe based on we're reporting on the testimony right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think she is a victim if the allegations are true, but also she is involved in some of the criminal I mean, she's getting those prostitutes, right? She's making payments to them, allegedly. She's having them come. So she's involved in some of the alleged criminal activity. And that's an interesting point that wouldn't just apply to her. Other people in his orbit might be some combination of victim and co-conspirator.
But you know what? That video changes everything, because the argument would be, what do you think happens if she says no? Yeah. What do you think happens if she says, I'm not in the mood for a freak off tonight. I'm not going to pay the dancer.
I'll be sure he came out saying that Kim Porter death needs to be looked into.
I think that Al being his ex-wife, he have every right knowing about the stuff that came out about Diddy and what he was doing. You understand what he has done in the past, and people have overlooked it. By him coming out and saying that he hoped that he could get her case reopened. There was a guy called John the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be sure doing this is showing that, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth, because allegedly Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all.
So you feel the same way about her death being suspect?
I don't think nobody in America thinks nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, Kim had, I think a net worth of like, $12 million a year or something like that. Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
You personally, right? What do you think happened to Kim Porter?
If I say something personal, bro, and my belief, and I put it on to the public, then I might be like
Operation as federal agents moved swiftly toward a private hangar. Their target? A $60 million jet once seen as a symbol of Diddy's success, now at the center of a widening federal investigation. This wasn't a routine inspection. Armed with search warrants, officials arrived with a clear purpose: to uncover potential evidence linking the aircraft to a series of exclusive, high-profile events. These gatherings, described by sources as invitation-only and tightly controlled, have come under legal scrutiny, especially regarding how certain guests, many of them women, were brought in. Investigators had been quietly gathering intelligence for months. Through flight data, surveillance footage, and interviews, they began noticing a trend: repeated flights to upscale locations tied to elite social groups. What stood out were short, private trips with passenger counts that allegedly didn't line up with what was officially documented. As agents began their search, those with inside knowledge started coming forward. Some described handwritten logs and internal messages noting unusual passenger activity and unexplained arrivals. Communications between crew members and external organizers suggested there may have been more to these flights than just business or pleasure. The moment Diddy was presented with this information is said to have been intense. He reportedly remained quiet, giving no immediate explanation. Investigators pointed to inconsistencies in passenger lists and concerns about the aircraft's repeated links to these discrete events. Though Diddy has reportedly denied having any role in what's being investigated, his reaction left many wondering what comes next. Was he caught off guard? Or carefully weighing his response? But this isn't just about one person or one jet. Authorities are now widening their lens, looking into others who may be involved, from coordinators to frequent flyers. As new names come into focus, the investigation is becoming more complex. With the spotlight growing brighter, the key question now is, how deep does this story go, and who else might be connected behind the scenes? The investigation moves beyond Diddy, untangling a hidden network. What began as a closer look at Diddy's $60 million private jet has evolved into something far larger. Federal investigators are now exploring a complex web that stretches well beyond one aircraft, and well beyond one person. This probe has shifted focus from a single flight log to a broader network of individuals who may have had a hand in planning, organizing, or benefiting from the luxury travel.
Lucian Grange has been a very powerful figure for a very long time. Started as with a totally different name, by the way. I don't trust,
you're the one that put me on that rabbit hole.
I don't trust men that change their names, least of all 3 times, okay? A family that goes from Goldstein to G to Grange doesn't make sense to me. And you have him at the top of the food chain, heavily implied by Little Rod that they were allowing this to go on to get blackmail on certain people, and they just disappear him.
And I mean,
What's the logic here?
It's
no
understandable.
Evidence. There's tapes. Little Rod said there's nothing but tapes.
Tapes of everything.
And that Diddy was taping the people that were coming as well.
Yeah.
When he's mentioned in a Little Rod lawsuit as the fixer, to show you how extreme what he's being accused of is essentially he's the guy you call if you shoot somebody.
Yeah.
He intimates this scene in the lawsuit, Little Rod, where Diddy allegedly and his son allegedly shoot some guy in a bathroom. Little Rod is as this guy is bleeding out, cleaning up, trying to help this guy. He's very close or just outside of the bathroom. Little Rod might have been in the bathroom. And he knows that after Diddy and his son come up and shoot this guy, he's trying to apply pressure to the wound. And they know that you have to call this guy, and he'll get the correct person over at LAPD to come over, and they'll tell a lie. And he says that the next day the press ran a story that there was a drive-by shooting, and he's like, that's not what happened at all. And it made me really think about the book Chaos that so many people on my podcast have listened to and watched. Have listened to, and it's describing a corrupt LAPD with feds that are involved and know how to disappear certain things. And we know that to be factually true based on the Charles Manson murders. So this makes me super uncomfortable.
Travel arrangements now under review. Sources suggest that members of Diddy's team, especially those involved in travel coordination and event logistics, are now under the microscope. Investigators are tracing digital trails, messages, emails, and transaction records that may reveal who was behind these trips and what their true purpose was. Some of the data points to intentional efforts to stay off the radar, raising concerns about how far some were willing to go to keep things quiet. But the circle may be wider than Diddy and his immediate staff. Reports hint that other well-known names could be connected, not just as passengers, but possibly as participants or facilitators of these secretive gatherings. No official list has been made public, but speculation is mounting about how deep this list could go. Those who frequently attended similar events or used the jet services are now being examined more closely. Investigators are asking not only who knew, but who helped. Financial records are another key focus. Every dollar linked to the aircraft, from flight expenses to employee pay, is being analyzed. Authorities are trying to uncover whether certain payments were used to support or hide questionable activity. Currently, over a dozen individuals are reportedly part of the investigation. Their roles vary, from arranging flights to organizing gatherings, but each could help paint a fuller picture of how this private jet might have been used. What's unfolding isn't just about celebrity lifestyle. It's revealing a side of the entertainment world rarely seen, where money, fame, and privacy come together in ways few outsiders ever witness. One source close to the industry put it plainly: when you fly private, you play by your own rules. At least, that's what they think. Now, with growing public interest and a widening list of questions, the spotlight is intensifying. How far will this investigation reach? And if more names surface, will accountability follow? Meanwhile, Diddy's recent legal troubles continue to make headlines, and the storm surrounding him shows no signs of clearing. From the high life to a jail cell, Diddy faces his biggest test yet. He once lived a life of unmatched luxury, private jets, designer suits, and VIP access to the world's most elite spaces. But now, Diddy's world looks very different. Behind bars and under intense federal scrutiny, the music mogul is facing a reality few could have imagined just weeks ago. Sources say the change hit him fast. Gone are the custom meals and red carpet moments, replaced by cold routines and confinement. While he's reportedly keeping a composed appearance during intake, those close to the situation describe him as tense, withdrawn, and adjusting to a harsh new normal. Inside the facility, Diddy is said to be keeping a low profile, avoiding unnecessary interactions and focusing on legal strategy. Though official statements have been limited, rumors suggest he's had minor conflicts with staff and is closely monitored by guards aware of his high-profile status. Outside the walls, his legal team is in overdrive.
New controversies of its own.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
It's the black people. I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts. It's his attorneys. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I'll be in the...
I've never really quite understood why Diddy's fame has lasted this long, why he is so wealthy, how he's doing all of these extravagant things. Like, genuinely, I've never really quite understood it. And it's just interesting because when three things that seemed so crazy end up fact-checking true, he also mentioned in this, we didn't show this clip, but he mentions pink cocaine.
Yeah.
At that time, no one knew what he was talking about. Suddenly, Lil Rod's lawsuit is speaking about that exact same drug that he's saying is a combination of all sorts of drugs like MDMA and cocaine. And again, all of this is allegedly, but he says that essentially that's what Diddy is giving out at these parties that has people that is so high, rather. And then another piece of this, which we didn't show, which he said at that time in terms of saving Trump, was he says that he saw in the Illuminati card deck that they were going to try to assassinate Trump. Again, what year was this that Jonathan Odie was arrested?
That was 2018.
And we can also now confirm that he was indeed a sex slave to Cassie and Diddy because he's testifying at this trial.
Known for their experience in complex cases, they are working to challenge the core of the government's claims. Their reported strategy? Dissect the evidence, question the credibility of witnesses, and argue that any questionable activities linked to his jet may have occurred without his direct knowledge. At the same time, his lawyers are also managing the court of public opinion. Some media reports say they are reaching out to journalists, trying to shift the narrative, portraying the case as overreach, not wrongdoing. Meanwhile, early accounts from the arrest scene describe Diddy as calm but visibly upset when confronted with specific questions about flight activity and certain guest arrangements. Some reports claim his responses were curt, while others interpret them as signs of stress in a high-pressure moment. Reactions across the internet remain polarized. For some, this is about justice finally catching up to the powerful. For others, it's a high-profile takedown fueled by speculation and headlines. Regardless of opinion, one fact stands firm. Diddy's reputation, once built on image, influence, and wealth, is now under serious threat. And as the legal process unfolds, the future of his empire hangs in the balance. This isn't just a celebrity story. It's a deeper look into privilege, power, and accountability, with more revelations likely on the way. From private jets to public scandals, Diddy's fall and the sprawling network around him. What began as a raid on a $60 million private jet has exploded into one of the most high-profile scandals the entertainment world has seen in years. Federal agents didn't just stumble on Diddy's aircraft. They came prepared, armed with search warrants and a clear mission, to uncover whether the jet was involved in far more than just luxury travel. Flight logs, digital messages, and insider accounts are now painting a troubling story. Sources close to the investigation say Diddy's jet wasn't merely a symbol of wealth. It allegedly served as a transport for women attending secretive, invitation-only events. These exclusive freak-offs, as described by officials and witnesses, were high-security gatherings hosting celebrities and top executives. According to allegations, many women at these parties were under pressure or influence, raising serious questions about their involvement. Investigators spent months building their case, analyzing flight routes, passenger lists, and encrypted communications between crew members and outside organizers. The deeper they dug, the more inconsistencies appeared. Handwritten crew notes detailed unusual drop-offs and passenger lists that didn't add up. Then came the confrontation. When federal agents approached Diddy, he didn't lash out or deny the accusations. Instead, sources describe his reaction as stunned and silent, a mix of shock and careful calculation. Whether it was disbelief or defiance remains unclear, but one thing is certain: the investigation was no longer focused on just one man. Now, authorities are exposing a much wider network, involving employees, event planners, and even other celebrities. Some are accused of arranging transport, others of attending the gatherings. All are under intense scrutiny. And that's when the conspiracies started swirling. One of the stranger moments came from Jonathan O.D., a controversial whistleblower, who claimed Tupac is alive and living in Cuba, a wild theory dismissed by many but taken more seriously because of the accuracy of some of his other revelations. This sparked a wave of speculation, fueling theories about secret societies like the Black Boule, an elite group often whispered about in underground circles. Jonathan even pointed to a
interview that Tupac is still alive and he's in Cuba.
Drops it out of nowhere.
And that's been a major conspiracy that Tupac's still alive. I've never looked into that one. I just want to be very clear. But because I'm going back and I'm thinking it's just strange that everything this man said, or too much of what he said, has fact-checked true, which seems so bizarre. That another very bizarre claim he made, that Tupac's alive, is in Cuba, and he's just like chilling and saying that, it just kind of gets you thinking about
all sorts of other things.
What is reality?
All sorts of other things.
What is reality?
I also, while we're on the Black Boule thing, that Jonathan
Could you describe,
Audi brings
by the way, because
Boule.
when you actually brought up the Black Boule, I had no idea what that was.
I don't know a lot about it, and I think that there's a lot of versions of it. As like, I think that it's like, you know, Vatican conspiracies go all sorts of different directions. The Jew conspiracies go all sorts of directions. And the Black Boule, I think the understanding is that it traces back to like the black nobility and one of the royal families. And LeBron James does have a gigantic back tattoo of the crest, like the symbol itself of the Black Boule. Very literally the exact image.
Well,
or it's his chest, I think. It's
like I think it's on his
huge.
chest. I think I saw that in your video. And
kind of weird.
So that's interesting that he's saying he's a member of this, especially as we're now learning so much about what took place at these Diddy parties. And I want to be clear here. We can't really discuss Cassie's testimony because I try to keep this show family friendly, and I just
There's
can't.
not a single piece of that is.
That is right. I can't read anything about these transcripts. Yeah. Suffice it to say, they were into just the most debased, disgusting sexual stuff that you could possibly imagine. Yeah. She was very clear that she was high on drugs throughout a lot of it. I completely believe that, based on what we've learned from Little Rod and learned from other people, including this guy, Jonathan Odie, that was definitively one component of this. But it's interesting that we're talking about the idea of these people selling out the Black community on behalf of somebody else, because there are some dogs that are not barking. That had me very concerned in this case, because I read through Little Rod's lawsuit and I very much expected that the Universal execs would be brought into this, into the hearing at the very least to testify. And also the biggest person missing here is Christina Carrasco.
Two on LeBron James as a possible symbol tied to the group, sending the internet into a frenzy. Yet, while theories multiply online, the legal case is tightening its grip. Reports from inside the jail say Diddy is subdued and isolated. No luxury entourages, no special treatment. Sources say he's largely withdrawn, quietly preparing for what's next. His top-tier legal team is reportedly working hard to build a defense, arguing that while the jet may have been used for questionable activities, Diddy himself wasn't directly involved. Behind closed doors, the battle isn't just in court, it's a fight over public opinion. Lawyers are said to be pushing a narrative that this is a case of federal overreach, but many on social media remain skeptical. The debate rages. Is this justice or just another celebrity scandal? The story is far from over. Key figures haven't yet been called to testify, including Christina Curran and executives from Universal Music Group, both conspicuously absent so far. Many suspect the investigation is deliberately holding back, knowing the deeper it goes, the more powerful names it could expose. At its core, this scandal goes beyond Diddy. It reveals a hidden world of wealth and fame where rules are often ignored, and accountability is scarce. Private jets, lavish estates, and exclusive parties create an environment ripe for abuse. If investigators prove their suspicions, Diddy's jet could be the gateway to exposing a widespread system of exploitation hiding in plain sight. What captivates the public isn't just the scandal itself, but what it symbolizes: a reckoning with how power and privilege can be abused behind closed doors. This case might also spark a long overdue reform in private aviation, a sector long known for its secrecy, lack of oversight, and easy anonymity. That could change how these exclusive flights are monitored forever. Reputations are crumbling, careers are on the line. And for Diddy, a man whose brand was built on luxury and influence, his legacy now hangs by a thread. This isn't just about freak-off parties or suspicious flight logs anymore. It's about whether a system designed to shield the elite can finally be broken open. The biggest question remains, what did Diddy know? Who else was involved? And how deep does this story truly run? As the probe widens and more names emerge, this scandal may turn into something far bigger than anyone imagined. Stay tuned, because this story is just getting started.